But that also kind of leads me into the other thing that drew me into this, besides it being 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, was that Busey got nominated for his only Academy Award for this, which immediately made me look up like, well, who was he up against? Because he didn't win, but I got to see who he's up against. And the first person I found was De Niro in Deer Hunter. I'm like, that makes sense. I get it. That's a great performance. It's Bobby D. Like, I understand. De Niro didn't win. I was like, all right, well, who else is up? It's like Warren Beatty and Laurence Olivier. I'm like, okay, two great actors. I understand why that like they didn't win. Like, well, those guys didn't win either. They all lost to John fucking Voight. It's just like, I do not understand. The dude has given us nothing but Angelina Jolie, and he won like the best Oscar, like best actor. Like
he was the grandfather, National Treasure. Let us not forget.
That's true. That is very true.
The most important role.
Yes, his most important role.
Yeah, I liked him in that first Mission Impossible. I think he played that role well, but I was just like blown away. Like when you stack up all these people, like I wouldn't put Busey, but after seeing it, it's like, but De Niro, Olivier, Warren Beatty, I was like, man, John Voight took this. Like this was, it's on a different level. But we talked about this with the Malcolm X episode when Pacino won for Scent of a Woman over Denzel and Malcolm X. Like, what the fuck was going on?
Yeah.
Like, hoo-ah! What movie
That's
were
Oscars
people watching?
for you, though.
This is why I don't trust the Academy.
100%. And like they won Best Actor and Actress that year. So I'm like, I feel like this was kind of like a exchanging money favors kind of thing. Like, hey, you should, award
100%.
our people. But I just want to talk really quickly. We've talked about it already, and we're obviously like running long already. But like Busey's performance, I think we all agree, like it was pretty solid. Like I think he did a great job in this. Curious what you guys all felt about Busey. Like, did you buy him in this performance? Were you the whole time just like, that's Gary Busey? Or like, did you ever kind of escape into the movie and the Buddy Holly, character? Leah, I'll throw it to you.
I can tell Bethanne is staring hard at me through the screen.
Nice.
Because I spent the entire movie recasting him.
Really?
Nice.
Oh, I love it.
Who?
I want a modern gritty remake with Eddie Redmayne.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm into that.
Because the thing that killed it for me is he doesn't sing like Buddy. He really doesn't. He doesn't have that like hiccupy nervous quality. And if he had had that, he maybe could have sold me on it. But it was just so off from actual Buddy. I couldn't do it. Also, he's not attractive at all. And
fair.
Buddy's at least got to be cute.
That's
Gary,
fair.
if you're listening, please like and subscribe to our podcast.
Please come on the show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, if we get Gary Busey to like and subscribe to this podcast, I will have peaked way too soon.
He will not be subscribing to our podcast.
No. Damn it, Leah. What's Gary Busey?
The demographic you were going for. I know it.
I'm sorry.
What did you think, Bethanne?
I mean, I would agree with Leah in the sense of, was it good? Yes. Like, I thought his music scenes were good, but I do agree with Leah. His voice is way more high pitched. And then what I feel like they even tuned down some of the songs. At least that's what I'm thinking happened. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, there was a kind of an aspect missing. But then again, like, take Bohemian Rhapsody, for example. They had to bring in an impersonator to sing like Freddie because that's closest we can get. Yeah, that's
it's
dubbed.
not even him. It's Freddie dubbed. It's not an impersonator.
Well, it's Freddie dubbed, and they had a guy come in from YouTube who would sub in for just a couple different things.
Yeah.
And so
it's mostly Freddie, though.
But it's mostly Freddie, correct. But we're so used to, I think, today getting it exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, a better example is Taron in ROCKETMAN. Like, he got coached by Elton John himself on how to sing like him.
If you're going to get a coach to sing like Elton John, that's the guy.
Might as well be Elton John.
Right.
Do your biopic when your subject is still alive is the moral of the story.
And that's kind of the thing with like, I think the 70s, it was like, all right, cool, give it your best, like, and that's fine. But I mean, in hindsight, agree with Leah in a sense. And then his acting scenes, I mean, unfortunately, Gary Busey is such a stigmatized character. Like you were saying earlier, he's a character in and of himself that all you see is Gary Busey portraying Buddy Holly. Like you can't unfuse it. And it's partly because I don't know Gary Busey's repertoire off the top of my head as well. Other than he was in that like celebrity drug rehab place That's about it. But, you know, like, I think that also kind of took away the role for me as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about you, Matt? How did it work? How's Busey?
I mean, Busey as Buddy Holly, like, probably wasn't like an amazing portrayal, but like I thought Busey gave a good performance being Busey as Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So along with what Bethanne said, I used to make the joke that like for Halloween, I'm going to be Voldemort dressed as Mario or something like that. Or like you're one character dressed as another character. And that's kind of what Gary Busey was here.
Yeah.
It's like Gary Busey dominates and he does really well at being himself playing Buddy Holly. But I mean, I liked it. I was into his performance, but it didn't really I didn't see anything beyond Gary Busey. He didn't like break that layer for me. Whereas like some of these people like become who that, you know, that character. And it's a hard thing to do. Like even great actors have a hard time doing it. So it's not that I expected that, but no, I enjoyed the performance for Gary Busey.
Yeah, I'm going to swerve a little bit. I actually I don't know Gary Busey's like overall filmography all that well, but I do, like I said, love him in Point Break. And I loved him because he's insane. And in that movie, he's not Gary or Angelo Pappas. He's Gary Busey. That for whatever reason, they're just calling him Angelo Pappas. I don't know why. But actually, like, I was into it. I bought it. Like, I didn't see him as Gary Busey until he smiled. Until he would do that like crooked, like out of the side of his mouth, with his fucked up teeth. Like
there you are, Gary.
And I was like, oh, okay, there's Gary.
That's what killed it.
Yep.
every other moment, I was into it. I bought into it, and his like the music didn't sound like Buddy Holly, but I guess it just didn't bother me because I liked the way that they performed it in the movie so much. Like, yeah, I really appreciated the fact that he was playing live. Like, you know, I pulled from IMDb that everything was done in one or two takes. They were all live performances. And so you see some of the stuff like the guitar cord getting wrapped around his leg, or, you know, like he pulls back to the mic a little too late. Like it's not polished, it's not perfect, just like a real live performance would be. Right. So I just really liked that it was authentic, and he did such a good job of doing it that I guess I just didn't care that it didn't sound exactly like Buddy Holly. But you're right. It's not like he's not really doing a Buddy Holly impression. He's just singing Buddy Holly songs. And and I felt like he did a good enough job of it. And for whatever reason, despite knowing full well who it is on screen, it didn't distract me. I didn't think of it as Busey playing Buddy Holly, but
I think I bought into it because kind of embarrassed to admit this. Well, I guess I've already talked about Chris Christopherson. This is a different person, but like, I don't know that I've ever listened to a Buddy Holly song before consciously.
Sure you have. Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know. Like I may have, but like I've never put on Buddy Holly to like listen to it, you know? So when I watched this, it wasn't distracting to me. I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound like that. I was like, I have no idea. Maybe this is exactly what he sounds like. So I was kind of fine with it. It was some of the other quirks, like the way he was wearing his glasses. They're like tilted up and stuff like that. I was like, is this a Buddy Holly thing that he did? I don't know. And then I watched some like YouTube videos with Busey. I'm like, that's just how he wears his glasses. Like he just doesn't rest them on his ears. He just like tilts them up so they're like up higher. It's like, oh, this is a thing he does. So this is not a Buddy Holly trait. Which I thought was great. So yeah, I don't know. I had no like history with Buddy Holly at all. And so I was just like, yeah, maybe this is exactly who he was. I don't know, but it's hard not to see Busey. And I think the point was made that when he smiles, like that is definitely Gary Busey. Like I get that. So
was not.
the other scene that I really loved in here was the Apollo scene. We've talked about how accurate that was. I know they talked about like it was the third day when they opened with like a Bo Diddley song that they finally like turned the crowd and got them on their side. You know, so historically accurate or not, I loved that scene. I thought it was a great moment. And I was talking with my girlfriend about it as we were watching. It's like, man, what was that like to be in that audience when that happened? You know, because that's just like an electric moment where like, oh my God, these are white guys on stage, you know, but they bought the crowd, they got them, you know, like they sold them into like enjoying what they were doing. And that just made me want to ask, I mean, one thing I've missed so much in the pandemic is live music. I feel like you guys are probably in the same exact boat, if not, more than me. I miss going to shows. So yeah, I just wanted to we kind of talk about your favorite movie experience. I just want us to each kind of throw out, a concert experience that we love. Cause I feel like this had to have been up there for those people that were in the audience. Like this has got to go down as one of the best things that they had ever seen. So I want to talk about live music right now. Leah, I'm going to throw it to you. What's been your most memorable, favorite, whatever concert experience?
It's a tie between seeing Aerosmith live on the floor with my mom. We touched Steven Tyler.
Nice.
Wow.
What tour was this?
This was their recent, it's their Vegas run, Deuces Are Wild, but they did an East Coast, limited engagement at the National Harbor.
Nice.
Outside of DC. It was actually 2 years ago last week. It popped up in my Facebook memories. Being that close was unreal. It was a very, very small venue by Aerosmith standards. I think it's a 2,000 person venue. That was an incredible show. The other one that will always be my favorite is the show that the poster's right behind me, The Struts in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania in September of 2019. Very tiny venue. It was their last night in the US, and the lead singer, Luke, he never drinks on tour, except for this night because it was their last night on tour. And it was just, they literally at one point crumpled up the set list and said, fuck it, and just started playing
That's awesome.
whatever they wanted to. We got a Highway to Hell cover. They had never done that live before, to the best of my knowledge. Cool. And that particular venue, the barrier is literally just 2 feet from the stage. So you're getting sweated on. You're getting... they can hear you yelling at them. Best venue. I'm going back there for a show, hopefully, in November to see Bleachers. And I'm very excited about it.
That'll be awesome.
Sounds awesome.
I think my favorite, there are two recent ones. The first one, there's a band called Coheed and Cambria.
Oh my God.
Is from my area, but I never went to go see him live. And I finally got to see him live, oddly enough, in Charlottesville, which is an hour away from me. So, take it what's worth that. But my brother has seen him a bunch of times. But, he's 5.5 years older than me. Never took his baby sister to go see Coheed. It's fine. But yeah, I've been a huge fan of them for a long time. So getting to actually see them live, and they performed for the Coheed fans out there, their Good Apollo and Burning Star 4 and In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 3. So
best stuff.
Two of the greatest albums. The second one is a little bit off the wall, but me and my mom went to go see the Four Tops and the Temptations.
Ooh.
And I'm telling you, so for the Four Tops, there's only one original member left. And he's just the sweetest guy on stage. The other guys are in their I want to put them in that their mid 40s and 50s, and they're dancing and things like that. And then there's just him. He's 80 and he's halfway dancing, and then he has to get a stool and sit down, but he's still dancing.
I love it.
I love the heart of it.
Yeah,
that's great.
And then the Temptations came on. Once again, only one of their founding members is still around, but they had the moves. These guys are 70 and they could outdance me.
Whoa.
I still
That's
have
so
the video
cool.
of it. They could just they were so synchronized. And those, when you go back and watch the old 60s Motown, where the dance moves they have, they still had it. It
That's
was
awesome.
really, really awesome. And this was actually right before COVID hit. So that was February of 2020. And I remember they said, hey guys, we're not going to shake hands today because we're hearing about this thing called COVID, and we just really don't want to get sick. And it's a good thing they did that, because who knows? But literally 2 weeks later, the whole world shut down.
Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a good way to if you're going to, at least you got that in there right before everything ended,
Yeah.
if you would have known beforehand, I probably would have picked that same experience. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. It was great.
That's
What
awesome.
is yours, Tyler? What's your pick?
So I can't remember which was it Bethanne that had a boyfriend from Utah, or a husband?
Yeah.
from
My
Utah?
husband. Yeah.
Okay. So you said he went to a lot of shows in Salt Lake. I don't know if you joined it, but did he ever talk about the Urban Lounge? or did you ever go with him to a place called Urban Lounge in Salt Lake?
I've never been to Utah,
okay.
but I feel like he's probably been there. Like he's been to like I said, Taste of Chaos and Warped Tour. Any random metal shows he's been to.
I would be surprised if he hadn't, but mine was a show there. There's a band called Blind Pilot. I don't know if any of you are familiar with. They're from Portland. I learned of them when I lived in Salt Lake, but they came to Urban Lounge. They played a show, and there was maybe, I don't know, there was a few hundred people there. It wasn't a big show, but for one of their songs, it's one of their bigger songs off their debut album, or maybe not their debut, the one that I knew. I don't know. They had everyone, they turned off all their amps. They brought out acoustic instruments, and they all sat on the edge of the stage. And everyone just sat. They played the song acoustic, and everyone just like sang the songs together. And it was just one of those moments that can only happen in a venue like that, in a crowd of people that are there to see that band specifically, you know? And it was just those moments that kind of, we talked about like going to movie premieres and stuff. Everyone's there for the same moment, enjoying the same, you know, the same moment in time. And it was really cool, man. There was a woman there that it was her and her husband's favorite band, and he had just died, and they had tickets to the show, and she went by herself, and she ended up hanging out with us. And she just was like, we never saw her again. We don't even know her name. She just was like, can I stand next to you guys? This is what I'm going through. And I just, you know, and so like we stood next to her and sang songs with her. What, you know, seemed like she had a really good time. I don't know. It was a really beautiful moment. And it's
cool.
The first thing I always think of when I get this question. And then I will throw in, I saw Tom Petty in Seattle like a month before he passed away, which was pretty incredible. And it was the exact opposite, but still the same. It was at a baseball stadium, but the same thing with everyone singing the words and dancing. It was like, I remember looking around at one moment thinking like, this is there's 20,000 or however many people here, and we're all singing the same words, and we're all here together. And so when he sings, you know, roll up another joint, like a puff of smoke goes up. Like I was just like, this is really cool, man. There's people wearing funny hats and just dancing, and they were all ages. Just live music's the best, and I'm really excited for it to come back. Hopefully.
Me too.
What about you, Matt?
Ben will know this because he missed the show when they came through, and I hyped it up for almost 20 years before he got a chance to see this band. But I was a big Hives fan in middle school, and I went to go see them in the venue. This is for Beth Ann's husband. It used to be Bricks. So if you've seen show in the venue or Bricks, it was this venue, which in the venue is not even a venue anymore. So RIP. But
is it something else now?
I think they demolished it. Ben, do you know?
They're just tearing it down, I think.
Yeah.
Home to my least favorite concert experience, but
and my favorite. Anyways, it was 2004. They do this thing at every show. I didn't know they did this at every show at the time, but they're playing the song "Little More for Little You," and there's a part where they just stopped and they were just like statues and they didn't move, and you had no idea when they were going to start moving again. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, they stopped, but they dragged it on like way longer. Like it got to the point where it like wasn't funny anymore. It's like, okay, when are they going to start? But then it became like cool again. It's like these guys are not moving. When are they going to start playing again? And then they just like go right back like hard into the chorus, which is just like such a weird but cool performance. But I'll never forget it. Like I'll never forget like the energy that they brought, and just that moment was just like super awesome.
I mean, I'll never forget how excited you guys were because I was so bummed that I missed it. So I'm glad we got to see him last time. They came through with Refused on like this Sweden tour. So that was pretty cool. We've had a guest on here before where we asked their unsung gem, and they picked Matt's first unsung gem, which I think none of us ever thought would happen again. I also did not anticipate anybody else answering Coheed for this because that was going to be my answer.
Oh, really?
Because I went to Coachella in 2006. And it was like, there's so much of that was fun. Like I was like on the fourth row to see the yeahs where you're all just like squished together and you're just like in the thing moving. You have no control of your body. But the going into the small tent to see Coheed was the greatest concert experience of my life because like everybody was there for them. You know, like there's bigger bands like Depeche Mode and like Tool was getting set up and all that kind of stuff. So the only people in that tent were there for Coheed, and just like everyone singing along to that stuff, you know, it's just like Oh, like I don't know. I'm getting like goosebumps right now just thinking about, like, it was the coolest fucking concert experience of my life. And just, I'm sure he still does it, but like playing the guitar with his teeth and all that kind of shit.
He's still kicking.
He's still going for it. So yeah, I did not anticipate that when going to Coachella, because I was like, oh, it'd be cool to see them, whatever. But man, that just floored me. Like that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Claudio Sanchez, if you're listening, please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe. Please come on the pod. I mean, we've been talking for a while. Last thing here, I think it's our second favorite thing besides meeting the guests is doing a Rushmore.
These are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
It's our top 4 of something. We call it our Rushmore Mountain. And I figured this was appropriate for music biopics. I mean, there's plenty of them now. I don't think there may have not even been 4 when the Buddy Holly story came out, but now we got so many of them. So yeah, I just want to run through what our Rushmore Mountain is for music biopics. And Leah, I'll throw it to you.
Selena.
Got to.
Bohemian Rhapsody. ROCKETMAN. And I literally can't think of a 4th right now.
Cool. We'll come back to you.
Oh, no. Keep going, Leah.
Keep going.
This is way too far past my bedtime to think.
Yeah, it is 10:45. So hold on, I just pulled up a list.
Okay.
Because I can't remember. Oh, that's a good one. Good call.
Well, we can go through ours if you want.
Yes.
Maybe that'll give you some.
Oh, The Dirt. The Dirt's actually really good.
Nice. Oh yeah, the Netflix one, right? Of the Motley Crue.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. Matt, it's all you.
Yeah, gotta go with Selena. Selena's a great one. I'll throw on Walk the Line. La Bamba. We mentioned Richie Valens earlier. And then probably 8 Mile. I was trying to find a 4th. But yeah, gotta go 8 Mile.
Yeah.
I like it. Huge
asterisk on my list here. There's a lot of these I haven't seen. Like a lot, including Selena. I've seen all of it, but not in like one sitting. You know what I mean?
You gotta watch it.
I know. I've loved every time that I like see it, like if it's on TV or whatever. But I've never sat down and watched the whole thing all the way through.
So this is the triple feature you guys are coming back for now?
Yes.
Selena, Big Lebowski. What was the other one? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
ROCKETMAN.
ROCKETMAN. Yeah, perfect.
That's right. See, and like ROCKETMAN may have made my list. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I've started it. I don't know what I was expecting. I just like wasn't in the mood for what it was. I was like, I can already tell that this isn't for me right now, but I'm into it, but I'm still going to turn it off. And I haven't turned it back on since. So with all of that said, of the biopic movies I've seen about musicians, I had to put Walk the Line on there, which actually sort of, when we were talking about whether or not he looks or sounds like Buddy Holly, that was sort of like my big critique of Walk the Line at the time, because I was a big fan of Johnny Cash, and I still am, much more so than I was for Buddy Holly. And I was like, he doesn't really look like Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash has a scar, but it's not on his lip. And he doesn't really sound, I don't know. I was way too worried about how he looked or sounded. But even still, I'll put Walk the Line on there. 8 Mile's got to go on there for me. The Pianist, which I didn't know was considered a biopic until I found it on a list. So I got saved by a Rotten Tomatoes list there. So The Pianist. And then I'm Not There, the very strange Bob Dylan biopic. It's like a collection of short stories, which I'll be honest, if I wasn't such a huge Dylan fan, I may not like the movie so much, but I am, and I do. So
have you guys done a Dylan episode?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's on the list
here. Yeah.
Nice.
I'll definitely tune in for that one.
Bethanne, do you have yours, or do you want
I have
me to
my
go?
list.
All right,
I
let's
got
hear
it. Okay. First one on the list, and this is in no particular order, is just what came to my brain at 10:48 p.m. here on the East Coast.
Yes.
Straight Outta Compton.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Honorable mention for me.
Yeah, great. Also on the list is ROCKETMAN. Another one, and this is, I think, falls under your unsung gems, La Vie en Rose, which is about Madame Piaf.
Edith Piaf, yeah.
Oh, my. Marion Cotillard just
Killed
gives one of my absolute favorite films ever. And then this is not like technically a music biopic, but I'm going to put there anyway, Blues Brothers. Because also, like The Big Lebowski, you can just quote it here and there. And in a way, it is kind of based on characters from SNL.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
So
I'll take it.
There you go.
It's going to be my first watch next week. I have not seen that movie, so I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Oh, they have a great Muddy Waters is in it. James Brown, Aretha Franklin.
I'm excited.
Carrie Fisher is in it. It's great.
I can't wait to talk about it. I was excited. Tyler, you picked that one, right? I think Blues Brothers.
I picked it.
No, but
Matt did. Yeah. All right. I'm going to give mine. Selena and 8 Mile are on mine, but I just want to do 4 that weren't mentioned, so we don't have any repeats. Get On Up. Speaking of James Brown, I think Chadwick's performance in that was so good. I did not expect that movie to be as good as it was.
Yeah. Good.
I really enjoyed The Runaways. I think that was a really fun movie as well. Love and Mercy, the Brian Wilson, it was like Paul Dano and John Cusack going back and forth in time. That was better than I expected. Honestly, wouldn't make it if I wasn't doing any repeats, but it's a fun movie. I like the Beach Boys. And then probably my favorite one that I've watched recently is The Devil and Daniel Johnston. More of a documentary, but kind of goes into Daniel Johnston's history. If you don't know anything about him, I can't recommend it enough. I think it's on Prime, something like that, but it's a really good documentary and really kind of turned me on to his music. So yeah, those would be my 4. With understanding that the backside of the mountain is just Selena and Eminem. That's it. It's just their faces on there. Well, thank you so much for staying up with us and talking about this movie. I'm so stoked that you guys came on. This was a lot of fun.
Same.
Do you want to let people know where they can find you guys one more time?
Yeah, everything's on our website, shewillrockyou.com, but we're on Twitter at shewillrock, the letter U pod. Instagram, She Will Rock You Podcast, and I think that's everything. Oh, we're available wherever podcasts are found. Perfect.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you again. Obviously, you know where to find us because you're listening to us right now, but everything at 3 Films Pod. Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We will see you guys next week for the Blues Brothers. Bula Bula.
Bye, everyone.